Konnichiwa and welcome to episode 39 of the Leadership Japan podcast, and I am your host in Tokyo, Dr. Greg Story, president of Dale Carnegie Training Japan, and much more importantly, you are a student of leadership, highly motivated to be the best in your business field. If you would like your own access to 102 years of the accumulated wisdom of Dale Carnegie Training through free white papers, guidebooks, reports, training videos, blogs, course information, plus much, much more, then go to japan.dalecarnegie.com. Today's topic, engaging Japan's next generation of leaders. Leadership and Japan. Using these two words in the same sentence often arouses a chuckle in the expat conversation. When you ask the Japanese for examples of leaders in Japan, the list is usually short and invariably brimming with entrepreneurs. Son at SoftBank, Mikitani, Rakuten, Harada, HIS, Nambu, Persona, Yanai, Fast Retailing, Tanaka, Gree, Morita, Sony, Toyota. When you dig a bit deeper and ask about examples from the salaried leaders of the big corporations, invariably the silence is roaring at you. What is needed to produce an impressive next generation of salaried Japanese leaders to rank up with the entrepreneurs? Yogi Berra, the famous American baseball coach, nailed it when he said, "Leading people is easy. It is getting them to follow you that is difficult." Engagement is a word which gets tossed around rather cavalierly, but it really describes two things: the willingness of staff to step up and accept accountability and responsibility. Now, these two traits of accountability and responsibility are usually avoided like the plague by the Japanese salaried masses. By the way, have you ever wondered why nobody gives you their name when you phone companies? That's the reason. They don't want to be accountable or responsible for that conversation. So anonymity is a much safer destination for them. The last staff engagement survey I saw for Japan showed a number of only 7% of staff are engaged. That's not a great corporate leadership achievement to date, is it? So, how do we engage the next generation of leaders? The comfort factor is a topical subject lately, usually discussed in relation to the reason why young teenagers don't want to leave these gilded shores and study overseas. The Japanese comfort zone is pretty deep and wide. They're pretty much a risk-averse tribe, the Japanese, so they've boiled a lot of life's challenges down to small, risk-free zones. Getting people to challenge themselves means getting them to step out of that comfort zone, take on risk, and push on for higher outputs by doing either something completely new or doing the usual things a little bit differently. The reason this doesn't happen in Japan easily is twofold: management and reward systems. Management in Japan is archaic for the most part. In the post-bubble era, let's say the 90s onwards, on-the-job training has been reduced to a sad remnant of where the blind are leading the blind. Supervisors dispensing orders is the norm. Hierarchy, age, and gender factors all play a role in ensuring that the opinion of a young female, say 2014 new entrant, is absolutely not valued by anyone in traditional management. This is intriguing because depending on the business, she is often closer to the customer in age, trend, and outlook than anyone else in the company. So managers not seeking opinions from those below is a missed opportunity. Increasingly, many foreign multinationals here see the gap and want to introduce this approach to their Japanese managers. Expect resistance. Sanjeev Thomas, when he was appointed to create the retail group at the Shinsei Bank back in the early 2000s, asked for 100 staff who could think to form a task force. That was the brief. Get me 100 people who can think. They would be the game changers to out-innovate the Japanese megabanks. When the legacy Japanese management team from the Long-Term Credit Bank dutifully complied with his request and assembled the 100, wow, they were uniformly dull, senior, grey-haired bankers, not one woman nor one person under the age of 50. Well, Sanjeev created shockwaves in the bank by immediately rejecting them all, and after some serious arm twisting, he was substantially able to improve on that situation and assemble a diverse group who pioneered many of the services in retail banking that we as customers take for granted today, which, by the way, the Japanese megabanks resisted to the absolute bitter end. So we can all thank Shinsei Bank for bringing the customer viewpoint forward. Japanese supervisors are usually all card-carrying members of the tough love school of management. They make criticizing, condemning, and complaining a sacred art. The only problem is that the next generation are in growing short supply. The number of 15 to 24-year-olds has basically halved in the last 20 years, so there's going to be less and less of them coming into the workforce. And these young people are totally disinterested in being subjected to this type of leadership relic and curiosity. The term Daini Shinsotsu, the second-round new grad, describes those new entrants, and this is now at about 40%, who jump ship after about 3 or 4 years in the company. So they've been recruited out of university, 3 or 4 years in the company, and then they leave. This is after the company has spent the last 4 years pouring time and money into educating them, and they get nothing back but the additional cost of replacing them. And usually you can calculate that at 1.5 times the salary we were paying them. This is what managerial tough love gives you, a big, tough headache. Rewards are normally thought of in terms of bonuses, salary increases, and promotions. All have their place, and they're important in recognising those who are prepared to challenge the old to create the new. However, what other less expensive tools are available? How can managers arouse an eager want in salaried staff to get behind the company's initiatives? Interacting with the team in a friendly, smiling way would be a big help. Our Japanese people, actually, are at a bit of a disadvantage here on the smile front. Being a fairly serious race, a majime race, the difference between looking majime, serious, and looking angry is pretty slight, to the point of often not being able to discriminate between the two. Research has shown that when the words and the delivery are not congruent, we opt for what we can see, in 93% of the cases, rather than what we hear, 7%. So, how we say it is often more important than what we say. Try getting managers to begin in a friendly way with their staff and see the results and impact on engagement. The cost? Hey, it's zero. We own the world we create, so how do we get the troops to engage with the execution of their company's policy? Getting those reporting to you to do what you want by having them come up with the idea themselves has a degree of subtlety that sadly escapes most Japanese managers. Giving orders and whining are much easier. Can your managers do this, or are they having a constant WHINE wine party? Managers everywhere neglect to give honest, sincere appreciation. Hey, good job is pathetic, totally meaningless praise. Reflect for a moment. Have you ever heard these fateful words of recognition? We need to refer to exactly which bit was well done. Then the praise is sincere and credible. It seems to me that all Japanese come fully equipped with a tatemai, that is to say superficiality, meter, that is precision itself. Man, they can spot fake praise from 1,000 paces while facing backward. Managers need the skills to make their staff feel important and do it sincerely. These are the rewards that people want, but are usually denied. Money alone is not enough, and the cost of recognition, as I said before, is zero. If engagement could be reduced to an equation, it might look like this. Managers' communication skills multiplied by staff comfort zone expansion activities equals sterling next generation leader securement. Thank you for joining the Leadership Japan podcast. Remember to access your Dale Carnegie training free white papers, guidebooks, training videos, blogs, course information, plus much more, then go to japan.dalecarnegie.com.